Cynics on Disney podcast contains adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
This is the Cynics on Disney podcast, presented by nightclub33.com.
Welcome into this week's episode of the Cynics on Disney podcast. I'm your host, Bobby, aka the Disney Cynic. And joining me today is Patrick, the CFO of nightclub33.com. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. It's my co-host, usually Amanda. She has, fallen a little bit fatigued. It's that time of year for the teachers, and testing and all that. It's just a lot. Plus, it's Sure. We're actually as of tonight, we're packing for it. We're actually going to go check out the new Stella Nova, Terra Luna resort over at Universal. So,
cool.
Pretty stoked about that. And she needs to rest up.
What's the deal with that hotel?
So it's a value resort, but okay. It's a space themed resort. Which
let's wrap your alley.
That's my jam. Yeah, exactly. Right, yeah. If I was ever going to like a value resort, I think this would be the one. And it being brand new, this is gonna be the one that I feel like they're gonna roll out the red carpet a little bit, show off the resort so it gets good reviews, that kind of thing.
Sure.
I'm thinking that I could probably have the best possible experience at a value resort this upcoming weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. And I can't wait to review it too, because, this isn't one of those, we snuck into Epic Universe thing,
Mm-hmm.
I mean.
Is you going to stay one night, 2 nights? How many nights are you staying?
2 nights. We're staying 2 nights, cool. Friday and Saturday. And
whole weekend.
Yeah, whole weekend. Getting rid of the dog, thank God. I could use a break from him. He's been hyper here.
No dogs allowed?
Not to my knowledge. We didn't inquire, to be fair. I'm certain that the hurricane policy may be different, but that's because Universal is very lax with that. But I did not inquire. I had no desire to bring the dog. This is a nice, relaxing one. So,
can I ask how much? What was the rate?
Look, the introductory rate was ridiculous. I think I'm paying $330 total.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
2 nights
weekend, opening weekend.
Yeah. Opening weekend.
Usually they would. I would think that they would want to pump it up, but I also think that they're actually playing right into the perfect marketing in terms of an alternative to Disney. And right now, Disney is literally a dumpster fire. I mean, let's go ahead and just start there, shall we? Literally the newest attraction at Epcot just caught on fire. The facade did, and this was during our little spring hiatus break here, where we all went on vacations and all that kind of stuff. But damn, if that wasn't the funniest thing that I could have seen, it was literally a fire that I'm very familiar with. It was a refrigeration fire, as it turns out. And I understand exactly how that happens. And I can tell you exactly why it happened. That was a lack of maintenance. And that's something that they had really tried to stress, I thought. Right?
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what it was, refrigeration? And
it was.
So how does that work?
Generally speaking.
How did it catch on fire?
Generally speaking, the newer units, some of the newer units anyway, they actually use a refrigerant that a component of it is propane. And so at a low enough pressure, it's flammable. In its gaseous form. That's why you get your propane tanks, you open up the valve and all that, right? Well, Hank Hill has a career because of that shit, and now I might. It's a little bit heavier of a refrigerant, so it doesn't float up to the ozone, and that's their big thing, is they don't want it to do that. But there is that risk with certain types of electrical when you don't maintain the unit well. where sparks can happen if you don't wash the units, that kind of thing. Like this kind of
just because
stuff
it's
can
not being
happen.
cleaned properly.
Basically, yeah.
Huh.
I mean that's what it boils down to. Like
Yeah.
as a literal HVAC expert, I can assure you that's what happened. So,
Well, I
like
thought
Disney will never admit it, but I am an expert in my field in this city. I know exactly what happened.
yeah. So what I thought was funny about the whole situation is that he had the fire. They're putting out a fire at Epcot, and then you had Snow White being released that same weekend. So
Yeah. I mean, like, and boy, the first
yeah.
report was that it was actually a dumpster fire, and God bless it, I couldn't
Yeah.
stop laughing. Um, uh,
Yeah.
talking about like one on the park grounds and off on the silver screen as well.
Right.
Like we should touch on that too. By the way, because all right, let's go ahead and do
Uh,
that. Let's
yeah.
transition to Snow White.
We'll try to
We
walk a
covered it.
tightrope here. So I'm going to say, I mean, the movie's obviously lost a lot of money. Nobody went to go see it. They made some decisions, changing the grumpy character, pretty much writing him out completely compared to what the original movie. He was one of the main dwarfs in the movie, and they just completely wrote him out. Um, and they gave the key role to Dopey, who is supposed to be kind of like a childlike character in the original animated film. So he didn't have like a huge role. He was just there, Um,
Sure, we'll go with
but
childlike. Sure.
again,
Um,
well, I mean,
yeah, I get
that's
it.
what he was. Yeah,
Exactly. Sure. Yeah.
yeah.
I
But
had a different thing in mind, given the Brothers Grimm and their other writings, but that's just me.
I'm
I
just
had a
talking about
different.
Walt Disney's. I'm talking
Fair
about
enough.
Walt Disney's. Yeah, interpretation. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, you could say whatever you want.
I'm not saying that.
Not really.
That's for goddamn sure. I don't.
But
I
you
can't
do
wait to
stuff
see
like
this final
that.
cut.
I mean, Grumpy's a pretty important part of the film because Snow White teaches him to be kind throughout the film, and he's a pretty important part of it. And just completely cut that out, I think is insulting. Uh,
Not even. Let me make the super capitalist argument, just to spice it up a little bit. The mistake with screwing around with Grumpy, to me, is he's got to be on at least 50% of the merchandise that is sold to men.
he's just a great
Right?
character, you know.
I,
His
well, he's
the
also,
evolution, and
but he's also like got a reason. It's like Lewis Black. Like I get why Lewis Black is
yeah,
pissed off because I'm the same way.
yeah.
Dude,
Mm-hmm.
there is literally a Publix here that is next to another Publix.
Right.
I mean,
but everybody
like,
knows a person like Grumpy in their life, right?
of course, and that's
Yeah.
of course, and like that's why he resonates. Though is that like a bunch of dads are kind of grumpy about like being there. Like so now you can't even like placate them like in a funny way. Like they're the ones that are,
Right.
most of the time, not all the time certainly, but a lot of the time they're footing the bill. And like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is like something I've bemoaned personally because I'm a larger guy and it's difficult for me to find t-shirts, that kind of thing. And they never have anything in my size. And God forbid that they have like anything that might fit me. It's always just Grumpy being like the grumpiest thing. I'm like, God bless it. Can I get some variety out of this? But from a marketing perspective, why would you shoot yourself in the foot? Because now, what? No merchandise for men?
Yeah, I don't know. It just it didn't make sense, kind of. And
There's
there's
lots
other
of
things they
things.
changed with the story. I mean,
Yeah,
another
lots,
main thing
lots.
that they changed with the story is that uh, the first part of the movie is about her finding true love or whatever you want to call it, and they
Yeah.
essentially erased that. It's like, Why even make the movie? Make a different movie. You know,
Well, and
if
that's
you're
kind
gonna
of
redo these films,
so. Let's talk a little bit about that. Like maybe there's just a reason that they're remaking everything. Nobody is being creative anymore, despite having the most tools to be creative in this day and age. There is
mm-hmm.
a significant lack of creativity, particularly with groupthink. Like, there's something to punk rock where whatever the crowd says, like, nah, just fuck it. Like, if I was in
Mm-hmm.
LA right now, like, I would be like the worst of the worst, like of the South. I would start like sounding like I'm white trash all of a sudden. I just because I can't stand some of those people, and sometimes I like to be a little bit punk rock in that sense. It's kind of where the shtick came from. While everybody else is like, oh, I love Disney. I'm like, fuck you and your stupid theme. Yeah, that's where the shtick came from almost. And
Mm-hmm.
like, it's gotten bad these days where you can't even be punk rock for fun. Like you do need to have like somewhat of a shakeup of thought, and I think it's become very corporatized, and you see that in a lot of the design choices that are out there these days, right?
True. Yeah. 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 I I can't
I
disagree
mean,
with that. Um,
you're a DVC owner. I mean, talk about
mhm.
what you think of like the Polynesian update.
So I'm gonna be there in September. I'm staying at the tower. From what I've seen inside, they didn't do it. It looks well themed. Um,
Okay,
it looks like when I went to Alani, a lot of it looks not similar, but in that same detail.
okay,
Uh, but I'm not. I'm talking about the inside. Obviously, the building just looks like a building, you know. But when you go to
sure,
Alani, that's essentially what it is. It's just a building, you know. It's just
fair
what's
enough.
around it. Um, but that seems different than what they did with a lot of the other updates, like at the boardwalk. That was just like this,
Oh,
all these clean lines, and you know,
we, I don't have a
uh,
problem with necessarily as an aesthetic choice, but that doesn't mean that you can't have
mhm,
like uh, uh, when we talk about theming, you're supposed to be transported to a time and a place. So
mhm.
updating something that uh, is supposed to be 1920s New Jersey to be sleek and modern doesn't make a whole lot of damn sense to a theme.
No, Mm-mm. No, no,
Or
yeah.
Wilderness
I
Lodge is the same way.
yeah, yeah. So when I stayed at Wilderness Lodge, we stayed at the what's the there's Copper Creek, and then the other one. What's the other one called?
Boulder Ridge.
Boulder Ridge.
Boulder Ridge.
It was in desperate need of an update. It was really old. I haven't seen what they did to the new rooms, but I'm assuming they just didn't put too much detail in them.
You
I
know,
guess.
if it was anything like the cache area, which I guess is technically part of Copper Creek, um,
Yeah.
I hope not, because again, it's that barn door. Um, like
Oh. Yeah.
every fucking hotel has a barn door now, which I like. I can kind of understand. Like you don't stub your toe as
hmm
often. Like there's less issues generally if you lock somebody, or if you need to get in, it's easy to remove type deal. Like I get it, but also like, can we do something different with it at least?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a big problem with the door, as long as it has a door. Because some of those older rooms don't even have doors, especially like the one bedrooms. Going into the bathroom. So I'm
Well,
just happy there's a door.
it depends on the resort. There. For instance, I love Old Key West. I know Patrick is not a big fan. of
Well, I haven't stayed
those
there.
style condos. You're not a fan of those style condos though, because you have stayed at Boardwalk, and Boardwalk is another one of the early ones that had like the tub in the one bedroom with the jacuzzi
Right,
and
yeah.
everything. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. And part of that's nostalgia for me too, by the way. Like, because even when we weren't going to the parks, we used the DVC points to go to Hilton Head because we lived in Atlanta. It was only a 4-hour drive to the beach, and
Mhm.
that resort was designed in that same vein. And there's something very homey about those particular villas to me. So I get that welcome home feeling when I see that floor plan. I understand why you don't, though.
Well, I would be fine with it if the bathroom had a door. You know, I'd be fine with it. It's just weird. I don't know.
You just want like the toilet separated, like into its own closet, right? Like that's all you're looking for.
Well, I'm just looking for a door in the bathroom from the bedroom. That's it.
Oh well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about, though. Like there is a door, though. Like, anyway,
No, there isn't.
that's neither here nor there.
there
There
isn't.
is
There's a
absolutely.
door to get into
You're
the
just doing it
room.
wrong. You're doing it wrong. I'm telling you, you're doing it wrong. Uh, I'm gonna have to fucking teach him when he comes down here the next
We're
time.
done
I
with
swear.
Snow White, right?
Yeah, I mean, Snow White. Look, I would. You could make the argument to me that it's the bookend of the company, though, right now, because the way that things are going, I don't see the leadership changing or anything like that. I see the company continuing to go down this path and not making any sort of new or creative decisions. They're going to keep relying on sequels, it seems like, and rehashes and their
Yeah, I think
live
Pixar
action
has a new one.
stuff. It
But,
sucks too. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Pixar has a new film, like original idea. But I don't know if there's anything else outside of that. I think like we got a Stitch remake, a live action
Yep.
remake. We have a Avatar movie, but the Avatars. I mean, that guy wrote a whole story and he's just telling it. That's
Yeah.
not really. I guess Disney's not really behind that. Um, what
One
else is
thing,
coming out?
if they
Probably
wanted,
more
I
Marvel
don't know.
stuff. Yeah.
One thing that they haven't done, I'm surprised a little bit. If they wanted to lean in and a little to like the sort of kind of predominant vibe that seems to be going around right now, like from like a entertainment perspective, some of the hot properties are something like Yellowstone, or even in Star Wars, it's The Mandalorian. So, and both of those would be considered like a
That
Western
movie.
style
Yeah.
format and everything like that. So there's a lot of Western catalog that Disney owns the rights to that they could easily remake. I don't want them to touch Davy Crockett, but for God's sakes, Walt built a lot of rides off of that movie. So I don't want
I
to see
don't
him do it.
think. Like, no, I think just leave it
But
alone. Just leave it alone. I heard that they were
I'm,
so apparently they were making a Rapunzel live action, and apparently they stopped it. They're putting it on hold. So maybe with this Snow White movie, the failure of it, maybe they're rethinking their what they're doing. So.
yeah,
Uh,
and
but what about
maybe
Zorro? The Legend of Zorro. That could be. I think that could be something they could delve into too.
sure. I'm just saying that there's a way that you can still satiate that kind of audience with properties that you have and even seem more original, like in a sense, and be more creative.
Mm-hmm.
That it's appealing to a lot of people right now, and like I yearn for a little bit of an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I yearn for a Predator. I do,
Yeah,
with Dutch and the handshake. Ah, it's so good.
they made a
It's
lot
my
of
favorite
those.
part,
Though. They
man.
made a lot of Predator movies.
Well, I mean, like,
They beat
the
they beat
original
that
one.
bag. Yeah,
I'm not
that's
saying
great.
a new Predator movie. I'm saying like a new, like something different, but
I
like the
understand.
movie Predator. an action
I get it.
movie,
An
Arnold
action movie,
Schwarzenegger,
Yeah.
testosterone.
No, I get it.
That's
Like a
a kind of
Rambo
an
or something.
underserved. Yeah, and look
Yeah.
at I mean, that's what they tried to do with all the Marvel stuff, but that's like it's just lost its way with that.
Yeah, they've had a lot of success with it, but like you said, maybe there. I think probably there's just I need a break from it. You know, uh,
I want
yeah, I
them
don't.
to
I'd
try
like
it.
to see something original too, but
Like the
I
thing
don't.
is that
Nobody's making original shit though.
it's not necessarily that they have to make original shit. It's just that whatever they're making, it has to be good.
Good.
It's like
Yeah.
you have to put forth the effort with these things. What they tried to do with Marvel, in a way, is develop a formula and see if they could just develop that formula and distill it down so that they could introduce a new character with an origin story and plug them right into the story. If you look at
What?
like all those that phase one, that's exactly what all that is. It was developing that formula. And then look how seamlessly they did it with something like Ant-Man and Black Panther
It was
and so on
great.
and so forth.
Yeah, but it was good writing. Now I will say I did watch Agatha all along. I don't know if you watched that, but I thought that was good writing. Um, I enjoyed
I
that show.
made it about halfway through.
You didn't like it?
It just wasn't my show. It wasn't meant
Okay,
for me. You know what I mean? Like I understood that I
I
was
get it.
the square. And so I said, I'm just not even going to judge it at this point. But something like Star Wars pisses me off because it is designed. It's supposed to be designed for me. The sci-fi nerd, right? And fuck, I've got a Vulcan salute over here as part of my getup and everything,
Mm-hmm.
And here you are, like producing this junk, for lack of a
Mm-hmm.
better word. I mean, it is junk.
Yeah, I agree.
I,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's not much we could say that we haven't said already about Star Wars.
I know. I don't want to beat it to death. I'm just, but like my frustration doesn't lie with like them doing more Star Wars. They've just done so much bad Star Wars, and it feels like they're trapped and they can't get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Did you have you seen Andor? Because I can't remember if you watched that or not.
I've not. I keep being told that I need to
Okay.
watch it. I try to give it a couple of episodes, and like the first two just did not hook me. I think this is going to be like a
Okay.
Breaking Bad thing where I don't catch on until it's over.
Yeah, I I liked it. It's kind of more of like a spy like movie, not really Star Wars like that you would think lightsabers and you know all that. But I thought it was a good TV show. And then the second season comes out, and I'm looking forward to that. So we'll see how that goes because it's one actually that particular movie is one of my favorite Star Wars movies. You know, so it's the lead up to
Rogue
that
One,
movie.
yeah,
Yeah, Rogue One.
I
Yeah,
agree. I think that's probably it's the only good new Star Wars movie.
Disney Disney movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost throw the prequels in there, but actually I do rank it above all the prequels still. Um, but where do you put it? I can't put it above or
Mm.
below Empire,
I don't. I
or
mean,
rather,
I probably put it. I liked
oh no,
episode three, um, but I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, that it's just a great movie. It's a war movie. It's just great.
well, okay,
I
so
put it at
that's what
least
I
in the
liked
top
about
four, top 4 or 5.
top
Yeah,
four.
that's what I'd say.
I,
Yeah.
I what I like to your point is that it's a war movie. It's different, but it's still
Mhm.
set in that universe. And because it was
Right.
well written and well cared about,
Hmm.
it fits
Yeah.
seamlessly. Um,
Hmm.
that's the difference between, you know, uh, I used to love watching Star Trek, like the original series in particular. And like some of those episodes are fucking goofy and wild and stupid, man. Like they are just bonkers crazy. There's one where literally a giant green space hand comes out of the woodwork and it's literally Apollo, the Greek god. I feel like that's something that we should be revisiting more, like than just the one time. Like, what the hell is that?
Right.
But anyway, so like, but the point is that like they were just trying to do like a bunch of different types of shows with all set within this one universe and putting the different characters into different positions. And that worked to a degree. It got refined though, and got much better writing when it came to the Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. It got way more complex. So over time, these things can evolve and get better, and that's certainly what happened with Rogue One. What's happened with a lot of these modern franchises is they think that it's just about the flashy parts, not the writing, not the characters.
Yeah,
and
character
that's the core.
development, and that's the absolute core of it. Yeah. I agree, 100%.
Luke went on a journey, literally the hero's journey.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's a fun arc.
Then they try to ruin his character as best as they could.
I think not even Mark Hamill agrees with those choices, and I certainly don't think that he was doing it for a paycheck. But I certainly think that a lot of people made a lot of bad decisions on that production line. We all know whose fault it is.
They're still there.
They're
still there.
Yep, I know. Trying to fight their way to stay alive for somehow. I don't know how that woman's still around, but hopefully that changes sometime soon. All right, so there was an article that was released. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, are we going to talk about the next dumpster fire? So we talked about the actual dumpster, what we thought was a dumpster fire. We went into the movie dumpster fire. Now we're into the Magic Kingdom dumpster fire. Is that where we're going?
Yeah. There was an article released by Forbes, and it cited a couple different movements, I think, that are happening over at Magic Kingdom. One of them is the Save the Rivers of America one, but the other is the Emporium. Okay. I want to touch on the Emporium first because I like economics more than I like, boats. So, the Emporium is like literally, well, I mean, boats can be economical if you do it right, but anyway, there is no space on Earth that produces more dollar per square foot. Apparently, like that's a stat that's often cited than the Emporium over at Magic Kingdom. And when you think of all the high end stores that are in France, that are in New York, that are in these fashion centers and everything like that are selling garments that are literally thousands of dollars. Yeah. You're telling me the place that sells all the Magic Kingdom plushes is the most valuable real estate in America?
Think about how many people walk through there.
You know what I mean? And
so what happened?
And a clusterfuck happened is what happened here. I think they just used some leftover materials from the Bay Lake Tower refurb. Like they stole a box of tile and put that on the floor.
Did they put and then a wall or something?
Yeah. They made like 5 different walls and like 4 different ceilings. It's weird. It's not even a Pentagon. Like, I don't understand how they got 5 walls in there, but they did.
Is it weird? It's just weird.
Weird. Yeah. It's definitely weird. And there's Imagineers that are like actively now speaking out. This is like former presidents like vocally saying some shit. Most presidents stay quiet after they're done, right? And it's the same with Imagineers. Nobody ever criticizes that next generation because they didn't want to stifle the creativity. And then there's this shit. I forget the Imagineer's name, but it was it was the guy that designed the Emporium refurb over at Disneyland Paris, and perhaps Steve,
Okay.
upon his return to camera, can elaborate further on this. But apparently, he did an astounding refurb over there when they made it Disneyland Paris and not Euro Disney. And this guy has been very critical of the Emporium refurb. His point is that because it's so valuable, you should invest in that space. You should make it a posh environment, velvet carpets, bold design choices that suggest an elegance and everything. And they didn't do
I
that.
see
They
what they
just
did.
went with basic. They just went with basic, like modern, clean lines, like we were talking about with Boardwalk, and it's
Mhm.
ruining that store.
Yeah, I see what they did. They kind of like took down a wall basically, and
Yeah,
I guess what they're trying to do is create more an easier flow. But I can see what you're talking about. Like they had those like I don't know if you remember. It's like when you first the closest by Casey's, right?
yeah,
So that's kind of
hmm
where they opened up this wall where they had those nice like I don't know if you remember they had the I think weren't they like those nice wooden looking like bookcases like a
mahogany
mahogany
looking.
like wo-
Yeah,
yeah. Those appear to be gone.
hmm
And I don't know if you've seen these pictures, but
I
interesting.
have, and they're kind of that's why I bring it up. The more that you look at it, the more you scratch your head and go, why are they like blowing this so badly? And then there's
Oh, so
this
they opened it
Save the
up
River. Yeah, this is live, man. This
to
isn't
Casey's
like,
too.
yeah,
Interesting.
it I don't think that's a good choice. I think it's
No.
a pretty bad one, actually. And
Yeah, that's weird.
like, it's not a hot dog shop, you know. And again,
Right.
we
No,
said
it's
it with
not.
Boardwalk. We said it with Boardwalk. It's like Main Street is supposed to transport you to a specific time and place, and it's very much not
Yeah.
that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I suppose not inside the store. Yeah, I agree.
And but that's where all that thematic integrity like comes into play, right? Like you're
Hmm.
supposed to, doesn't matter if it's the gift shop or the bathroom or whatever, you are supposed to have that theme run throughout. You were supposed to be immersive. That's why uh, Galaxy's Edge works, because even in the trying to go to the bathroom, you have to read that whatever bullshit language it is and figure out which bathroom to go to.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So there, the Dasani bottles and the Coke bottles and everything like
Right.
that,
Coke
with all
bottles.
that
Yeah.
bullshit language, you know.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
to that point though, that's theming. That's good.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people
Yeah.
enjoy that part. They don't enjoy the ride breaking down,
Sure. No.
which circles back to maintenance and all of that. Um,
Yeah.
but part of like why this Rivers of America thing is starting to interest me is it's it's the one thing that could actually save that park, in my opinion, if they change what they're doing with that and with that Cars Land stuff.
Do you, do you, yeah. So I've been thinking about this a lot myself. That I at first I was like, who cares? You know, as long as they do something great, it won't matter. But then I got to thinking, the ambience of that if you take out that river or the lake or whatever you want to call it, um,
Mm-hmm.
and just put more concrete in, I just think that it's gonna kind of just take away from that park and make it more like a Hollywood Studios or a Universal Studios. And I think they could probably, I've seen people talk about it online that they could probably shorten that river and then build behind it, and still do what they want to do. And I think that maybe, I don't think Disney will do it. I think Disney's going to go full steam ahead and wipe out the rivers of America. But I think there's a way to save part of it and then build behind it. And I think that would probably be more, you know, not short sighted. I think ripping it out is short sighted. But I don't
I
know. How do you
obviously
feel
I
about that?
agree. I agree. I
Yeah.
think where the Disney company and I have gone our separate ways is Muppets, not the Rivers of America, but the reasoning is the same. Um, when you take away certain things from fans in particular, the super fans, the ones that have been coming for generation after generation, you lose that passage of um, imagination, of wonder, of all that kind of stuff. All the feelings that we got when we were kids and
Mm-hmm.
going to these places. That's I don't
Mm-hmm.
think is being passed along. They're still hyped and excited over seeing like all the characters and stuff like that. But the kids are gonna like whatever the hell you put in front of them half the time. I mean, like Minions for God's sake.
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, like you don't have to go to the extreme of making it like the Epcot of 1981 necessarily. Like I'm not. There should just be more of a balance between what the original intent of the park was and like what they're doing with it now doesn't make any damn sense. Certainly not for what Epcot is supposed to mean. And like it just feels like if you want to do your own thing, build your own park.
True. I think honestly, I mean I don't know if you believe this, but they apparently the maintenance on the river is costly, and they can, if they use that real estate to put in the cars or whatever attraction they're going to put it, they're to them they're adding capacity, which they probably are a ride
I'm
capacity.
sure.
Um, and I think that's all they care about. They're trying to they see Magic Kingdom's too busy. That people won't stop going. They've raised the prices. People aren't not going, and they want to use that piece of land. They think it's too valuable to have that boat in there. That's what I
There's
think.
so
They can sell merchandise through cars. So much merchandise. That's what I think
I'm
they're
not
thinking about.
I I don't disagree with any of that. It's the problem is that they're fucking up Magic Kingdom to me. Like there is no
They may
like
be. Yeah.
Tomorrowland. Like there is no Tomorrowland anymore. It is a mishmash of nonsensical Tron and Buzz Lightyear. And what the like none of it makes sense anymore. None of it when you think of it as a theme. Like
Thematically, no, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, I
this is
agree.
why I kept railing on the Splash Mountain versus Tiana's remake and all that stuff. Splash Mountain wasn't set in the American West, but it did at least have like a similar vibe in terms of like an outside structure and everything like that. There's so much greenery with Tiana's that it
Mm-hmm.
stands out like a sore
Mm-hmm.
thumb when you're on Thunder Mountain and blends into the background when you're not. It should be out front and center
Yeah,
when you're not on the attraction, and it should blend into the background when you're not. You know what I'm when you are on it. Like that's what I'm saying.
well, yeah. And what's going to be more interesting is when they do take out this river and put in what they say are mountains. how big are those going to be? I assume you're just not going to be able to see Big Thunder Mountain, and I don't know how are you going to be able to see Tiana's on your walk down. No, like you come through Liberty Square and you go towards Frontierland. That whole everything about that is going to be completely changed. You know, it just I don't know. It's hard for me to picture what that's going to look like going
I
forward.
have a gut feeling that what you can look to is how Galaxy's Edge blends in over at Disneyland in Anaheim. I think that's probably the best analog for it. I think if you're going to build mountains, you're going to do it like they did at Hollywood Studios and build up the that kind of forced perspective infrastructure of it. But it's all going to be set pieces, just like Hollywood Studios is essentially. There's not going to be like the depth of the Matterhorn to it. I don't think. Whereas, the Matterhorn, yeah, it's a whole steel structure inside, but on the outside, it's
Yeah.
completely different. Expedition Everest is another one that, like, from the right angle, yeah, you can tell it's not
So you don't think it's
a mountain or whatever. But Expedition Everest, you go on that shit and it looks realistic.
but here's the interesting thing about what's going to be here is that's you're going to walk all around that fucking mountain because if you're going
Yeah,
back around to Tiana's and you're going back around to Big Thunder Mountain, it's going to have to they're going to have to make it like they can't
I don't
if
think
they
so. And the reason I say that is because there is still a fence line that, like, for security purposes, that kind of thing. And they still have to have that service structure of the utilidors to help maintain a lot of that. So digging that out is going
but
to be
that's
a
down
little bit
in
of
a
a problem.
it's going to be down like you're like you look down into the lake, right? So you're going to look down into the cars ride, right? My
Yeah, I guess I like. I'm thinking that it's still going to be well kind of north of the back of Thunder Mountain where Cars Land is, but the way that you're kind of describing it is almost like that's where they're putting Sawyer Island. And if that's the case, that might be different.
yeah,
And they could use it in.
that's where I think it's going.
I still think that it's going a little bit further north, but that's just from concept art that I've seen. So
Oh,
we'll leave that open for
yeah,
debate. And perhaps they can use it well, but
yeah.
to the recent trends of things, I just don't see them making any sort of improvements on what we've been getting.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, you they're capable of better, right, than what they've
Yeah.
shown us. So, and I guess that's
Uh,
what's kind of your what you're disappointed with a lot is that you know that they're capable of this, but you're getting just like a bait and switch almost.
yes. I think service overall has declined because companies seem to think that it's cheaper to, like, deal with something messed up instead of just making sure that it gets done right. Like, if you
So,
order furniture and something's busted on
mhm.
it, it's cheaper for them to just send you a brand new one than for you to ship it back and them to send you you get two sets basically if something's broken
Mhm.
on it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's messed up a little bit.
yeah. No, you're right. But like something, it seems like there's something's happening because um, they this new thing with the luggage that that you're going to be able to take your luggage from the airport um, to your resort. Uh, that's a perk that they had taken away, and now it's back. And some rumblings are that maybe some type of magical express is going to be coming back here in the near future. So something's changing. Maybe they're listening to the fans. Maybe they're listening to people. Maybe they overthought. not having that Disney bubble when they had the new theme park down the street. Maybe that new theme park is making Disney re-look at some of the issues that the fans are complaining about. I'm not quite sure, but it seems like something may be changing. The refurbing Buzz Lightyear, which that's been so
Yeah.
overdue. So we're starting to see some minor things.
So that's a funny one of a refurb. My cousin, who's been on this show before,
It is.
she and I have a
Okay.
a little bit of a beef when it comes to this ride. We're to our knowledge, I think it's me, her, and my other cousin are the only ones who have ever, and my uncle, because we all know the spots to hit. We're the only ones who in the family who've hit Galactic Hero on that attraction. So both me and my cousin texted each other that day, like we're kind of like bummed because we know the spots. Yeah. And now it's like, I got to relearn this whole thing again, So we're going to have a competition.
Yeah. It needed it, though.
It did. It absolutely did. But
it's
we're going to have a competition.
Very long in the tooth.
Just a tidbit. I'm going to create a trophy, and we're going to bring her on, and we're going to have a trophy presentation where I present it to myself because I kicked her ass. I'm announcing that here now, and I'm calling it out like a boxing match. So, Ashley, coming for you. Yes, absolutely. Buzz Lightyear needed to refurb. I think that they could have done something else with that space, though. I really do. I think I'm just over Toy Story.
That doesn't mean they won't
in all these parks.
Yeah,
that's really.
I do eventually think that. I do eventually think that will be gone at some point, but for now,
why not do it now?
It needed it.
Why not do it now?
Because I think they're going to have too much construction going on. If they shut down that ride, there's hardly anything over there.
I don't think
you probably have to get rid of the laugh floor.
I think they should get rid of that. That whole look.
So what you're saying is that they should take the same attraction and just refurb it, but redesign it with something different than Buzz Lightyear.
Reimagine all of Tomorrowland at this point. Like, make it cohesive. Like that's what kind of my big problem with it is. Like, it's a mishmash of bullshit.
That's gonna be hard to do.
Well, okay, Tron as an example. Okay, it's got a very sleek look to it and everything like that. There's got to be other properties out there that you think are just as sleek that you can stick in there if that's the route you have to go. But if you're telling me that there's nothing that you can make look like Tron that would fit in Tomorrowland, you're lying to yourself. If you don't restrict yourself to just movies.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. But like, if you don't restrict yourself to just the movies, like, you can open yourself up and create a better and more cohesive.
That's not where the company is right now. So,
the company is.
I just don't see
wrong,
that.
I think my point, and that's what I keep harping on is that this is where we
but we're beating a dead horse.
Right? Yeah, well, I have a very small platform. It's more like a piece of plywood that I laid flat on the floor. So I'm going to use it every now and then, right?
Yeah, 1x8.
Yeah. I mean, 1x8. Yeah, absolutely. That's very, very thin. Is all I'm saying. As in terms of a platform.
Don't break it.
I'm trying not to. Okay, that's the reason why I avoided that one topic. Okay, God. All right, Patrick. We are almost finished with this nonsense. However, I do have to do two things here. One, national championship pick. Who are you picking for the college basketball tournament?
So I picked Florida, the Gators.
Awesome. I think it's fairly obvious who I'm going for.
Who did you pick?
Yeah, I think it's fairly obvious. I mean, just the giant F says it all.
Did you pick them every year?
Houston. No.
Okay.
Certainly, I wouldn't have picked them during the Mike White era. Jesus Christ. Talk about yeah. Never mind. We won't get into that.
Wasn't Osborne? What was the coach? Was it Osborne?
No.
No.
That Billy Donovan
He
was
had
the
coach. Donovan. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had some good teams.
Billy Donovan.
Yeah.
Great teams. Yeah. Great teams. But
yeah.
No, I would not have picked them every year, certainly. But this year, yeah, I got to ride with my team. You know, they're looking pretty good. So thank you for picking them. That gives me confidence going into this awesome weekend that I have planned. Where I'm going to a brand new resort and watching my team in the Final Four. So this is dope as hell. And then after that, the Masters comes out. I'm so excited. This is great.
Wow.
Exciting time for me. Amanda's coming back for the next show. We get to review the next resort, and we're going to do a little bit of a change up here as well. Amanda's going to start delivering the news, so I stop rambling as much. Maybe that'll get some
That's impossible.
more views out. Yeah. Who knows?
Is that possible?
I think so. I need like a governor. I do. This is why I like bringing on the co-host to break it up. You know.
Yeah, we'll see.
It gets monotonous to me. I get it. Anyway, we are on social media, allegedly. And that's going to be at Cynics on Disney for Instagram and, all that bullshit, the Pinterest, all that. Mm-hmm. And then on X and on Facebook, we are still at Cynical Disney. And yeah, I still respond to all of that and all of your comments down below. So make sure that you are commenting, liking this video, and subscribing. We do appreciate it. Patrick, since you are the CFO of NotClub33.com, could you offer a preview, please, as to what kinds of content we have upcoming?
The Notcast every Friday, almost every Friday, sometimes every Friday. Yeah. Just when we all can get together, we mainly have it. So Magic Kingdom time, was it 4:00? Magic Kingdom
4
time?
4:00. Yep,
4:00.
That would be East Coast time for all you California folk, and so make sure that
tune into this show, of course, almost every Monday, as well. Yeah. So, and this comes out what time on Monday? Noon
is when these videos drop. So, and yeah, I do check out the live stream of these things when they debut. So make sure that you're commenting down below if you're watching this live. We appreciate it. And guys, make sure that you do all those little liking and subscribing things, because that gets us out in the algorithm more, exposes us to more listeners. And of course, since we're on video, I don't want to expose myself in any other way. But until next time, guys, we'll have a lot of excitement, hopefully, to talk about here, and hopefully fewer fires. Some fires is fine, but fewer of them would be nice. Have yourselves a magical fucking day.